Hello everyone, good morning, welcome to my channel. This is the second real-time sketchbook study. I haven't really thought of a more concise way to call this little project. What we're going to be doing is a real-time sketch study in our sketchbooks. I did post a little poll in the community tab to see what kind of subjects you might be interested in, and portraits was the resounding winner. So we are doing a portrait study today. I hope you're going to be joining along. I have included the reference photo that I used, which I actually didn't do in the first video, but I thought it might be interesting. If other people wanted to draw the same picture, they can. And if you want to draw something completely different, or even if you just want to do carry on working on something else you're working on, feel free to do whatever it is you like. The whole idea is that we just sit down and can spend an active 15 minutes doing it together, because I don't know if you're like me, but I'm not very good at sometimes sketching can kind of fall away to the side and isn't the biggest priority, and I get a bit muddled with priorities. And sketchbook sketching is really important for keeping our skills sharp. So I find personally 15 minutes is a really good benchmark for just getting the momentum going. And for me, also 15 minutes doesn't sound like a huge portion of the day. So my brain doesn't get bogged down with the enormity of the situation, which it absolutely is not. You can watch the first video I did. If you missed that one, you can click in the link above. That video was about clothes primarily. If you are absolutely not here for the drawing and you're not interested in any of the real-time bit, because I'm not going to lie, if you're not drawing along with me, it can perhaps be a bit tedious, I suppose, if you're just watching me sketch. I don't know, someone might enjoy it. But if you do just want to skip to the end result, then you can skip to the 15-minute mark, and I have sped up the rest of the process. I said this in my last video that 15 minutes is a good time frame for me to get going, but it does take me a bit longer. I haven't got to a point where I can finish a sketch to a point where I'm happy with it within 15 minutes. So I have sped up the ending so you can see the completed portrait. In reality, I kind of get to the end of 15 minutes and I'm really in the flow, and I kind of get carried away adding all the little details and whatnot. So I enjoy going over the time threshold, as it were. I might in the future do a more constructive kind of a more limited timeline so that I can't go over, just out of curiosity to see, I don't know if I'm missing something by not forcing myself to try and finish it within a time frame. But it's not today, and it's not this video. So definitely skip to the end if you just want to see the end result, as you can see in the thumbnail. I talked a little bit about the inspiration for this drawing series having come from another artist called Bobby Chiu. He spoke in one of his videos about how he had started going on the subway and drawing people on their way to work on the train. More people noticed him drawing these people on their way to work, and they joined in, and it became sort of like a morning club. I think it then became like a weekly event, and it just kind of snowballed, and I think perhaps then they took it to cafes, and it still goes on now. And I thought that's such a great idea, but I don't know if you've tried drawing in public before. I have tried a couple of times. I remember trying at the airport once, and people, bless them, are just so curious whenever they see anyone drawing. I mean, I've done it before. I've seen people drawing, and I mean, it's probably because I'm interested in art as well, but you know, your natural curiosity just takes you over there. Oh, what are they looking at? It was definitely awkward that one time I did it at the airport as well. There were a lot of people there, and a lot of people were very curious. And you do have to become something of a ninja as well if you're drawing people and not trying to be obvious. So I was perhaps staring at people in slightly weird ways while I was trying to draw them. And I do remember one of the girls who I was drawing, it was a very, very loose sketch. This girl, she was like late teens. And bless her, she came over to me when we were getting our bags. And I don't know whether she had clocked me drawing her or not, because she just came over to me and told me, oh, I really like your coat. And then we started chatting, and she's actually really lovely. And I don't know why I didn't say to her, oh, by the way, I was drawing you earlier. But I didn't. So I don't know if she'd come over to me and was just super polite and actually wanted to know, but didn't know how to ask. I remember thinking as well when she came over, I was thinking, oh no, I've been clocked. Like, I didn't know if it was rude. I didn't know if I had no intention of sharing it with anyone. It was just, I was bored. We were in the airport for ages. And I remember feeling really conscious when she came over, like, oh no, I've been rattled. She's going to tear the sketchbook from my hands and pull out the page and demand that I burn it or something. And then she just was really nice. I didn't say anything about it at all. Bless her. So I would love to be that person who went to a cafe and ordered a cup of tea and just had a really chill time drawing. I would really enjoy that, but I'm not there yet. I don't know. Maybe I need to find a friend who I can go with so I don't feel quite so conscious and I can sort of get over my social anxiety a little bit quicker. And feel a little bit less conscious about the quality of what I'm drawing as well. If my voice sounds weird, by the way, that is because I've just recovered from COVID. Me and my boyfriend, and I'm absolutely blaming my boyfriend for this. He 100% brought this into the house. I mean, he leaves twice as often as I do. I'm such a little house hermit. So I'm 100% placing this at his doorstep. He brought COVID to our house, and he got sick initially, and we all thought I was okay. I took a test and it was negative. And I was like, woo. And then it was like 2 days in and I was like, oh, I'm so not negative. So I started to feel really quite sick. The only thing I didn't get is I didn't get a headache. But we're doing much better now. The only thing that lingers is I have a cough and my voice sounds so weird. And for the worst 2 days, I couldn't decide how I wanted to kill my time, whether I wanted to play a game or whatever. And I actually settled on watching the extended edition of Lord of the Rings again. I have no regrets. It was an amazing time. I was enjoying myself quite a lot. And then I decided I've never read the Lord of the Rings book. I have the book. I've tried to read it before, and for whatever reason I couldn't. But I've picked it up again. My copy is super flimsy though, and like in the worst condition. I keep my books in such good condition, generally speaking. I'm very reluctant to let people borrow them because I can't stand bent spines and things like that. Even though it shows that a book is loved. If it's really loved, then I don't mind so much. But this book is just in the... I think it was pre-owned before me, and it came to me in that state. So, and I was just watching a video by Nerdforge where she has leather bound all of her Harry Potter collection. And that's the little thing. If she ever wants to do a Lord of the Rings version, she is welcome to borrowing my copy, because that thing needs a bit of TLC. It was also my doggo's birthday, like, well, a week or so ago now. It was her birthday, which is why obviously I did a little ode to her at the start. She was 1, so we spoiled her a little bit. She has a pool. Last year when she was a puppy, we got her a little swimming pool because it was a really hot summer, and she loved it. So I cleaned the pool out, and we bought her some ball pit balls and filled it up with the ball pit balls. And I was kind of hoping that she'd be like jumping in and out of it and throwing balls around everywhere and having the time of her life. The reality is that she's actually quite a lot more hesitant. She's got to the point where she'll put her 2 front paws in, and she loves digging around for stuff in it, because I like to throw some treats in there for her. But her back legs, she's like, no, I'm good. I'm erring on the side of caution. But she's now taken to getting each individual ball and popping it. So obviously the balls are plastic, but they're sealed. The air is sealed inside. So when she pierces through it with her teeth, it sounds like she's opening like a can of tuna or something. It sounds like a tin being opened. So she's just going around picking all the balls up and piercing them with her teeth to make the weird noise. And then she chows down on them a little bit. She has not ingested any plastic or anything. They don't break apart. And obviously we keep an eye on her. But she just likes to chew them. So I don't know how long they're going to last. There were 300 of them. We did spoiler we were getting 300. The balls will be no more, no longer. I actually had a lot of fun doing this sketch. It was really nice. I try really hard with all of my references to get... I personally just like to have a lot of varied references. I like to have some men, some women, some young, some old, some different ethnicities and whatnot. That's just my personal preference. I don't have anything against those who do the same picture or do the same style or do the same subject. I just, I don't know, like to be prepared for any situation, anything I might want to draw in my head. And if the options are there for me to draw anything in my head, then I should probably practice anything. I did go back slightly and retweak the right eye. I realized once I'd got to a point where I thought I was finished with this, that actually the right eye was a little bit too large, and I was like, no, I can't leave that. I mean, this is part of the 100 heads drawing challenge, which you're supposed to spend 10 days on. And for me, I've been doing this over a process of now coming up to 2 years, which I knew from the start that I was going to do that. I had no intention of doing it for 10 days. I just wanted to do it very leisurely, at my own pace, just drawing one here and there. And that's what I did, and I'm still doing that. So you can see a lot of different... I'm really excited for when I finish it, because you can see a lot of different styles and a lot of different influences in every kind of chapter of the 100 heads that I've been doing. I kind of do them in slots of like, I'll do 10 and then I'll do another 5 and another 10 and so on. They're kind of in chunks. And I just think it's so interesting looking back on them all, because they're all very different. So now if you look on where I am now to what the very start, it looks massive, but obviously this is over a slightly greater time period than everyone else has been doing it. I think perhaps I should try and do it in 10 days one day. Again, just to see if I can, like the time frame. But I've also been trying to implement using a blending stump more. A blending stool, what's that? A blending stump. I'm just using it to block in shadows more. I think, I went through a period of falling into the trap of accentuating sort of every little bump and nook in a person's face and the indents and whatnot. So there was it was very confusing for the eyes to look at as a viewer, because there was too many variations in color. So I've gone back to simplifying. This is always the best thing to do if you're struggling. Just look at your picture and think, am I trying to do too much? Simplify the shapes. I talk about this in the tutorial video that I linked about doing shadows and shapes. And for the shadows, it really is a case of almost making your eyes go blurry, so you can just look at the picture that you're using and go, okay, so this half of the face, in this picture it's the left half is in shadow, so that's all a darker color. Stop looking at every little shadow inside that shadow and just start with that first shadow. One half is hit with the sun, the light from the sun, so it's lighter, and the other half is in shadow. So it's super easy. We just shade one half in at a much darker rate than the other side. Then we can add in the most important shadows. So this isn't every shadow. This isn't every pimple, every curve of the muscle. None of that. It is just where are the most important shadows. And then if you want to add more detail and you want to make it more realistic, you can add more and more detail from there. But those are the best places to start, because then you can simplify your image. It helps to keep things in proportion more. I have found if you've fallen into the trap of doing every tiny little detail, then you kind of lose focus of the overall proportions and the overall image. It doesn't matter how realistic you made that tiny section of the face if when you look back at the whole thing, it's drawing focus, or it's not in proportion, or it's in the wrong place. So it's easier to start with the big shapes and the big shadows and the big areas of difference in color, and then refrain from there. That's my process. That's what I go about doing. And I have found that it's been working really well for me. Thank you so much everyone for joining me on this video. Hopefully on my next video, my voice will be completely back to normal and not sound like this. To me, I sound super nasally. And not quite like myself, but we're getting there. I hope you will join me on my next video. It's going to be one of my regular videos. As it were, I mean, it's not going to be part of the sketchbook session. That will probably be the week following that. I think my next video is either going to be one to do with gouache, or I have some coloring pencils. I have a lot of new materials that I'm really eager to try. They're really good quality, and some of them are gifts for Christmas, and I haven't done swatches and I haven't played around with them yet, so I'm really excited for that. So please join me on my next video. I hope you'll be here for that. Thank you so much, and keep an eye out for future polls and conversations in the community tab, because I'd love to reach out to more of you and share all of our experiences and our journeys together. Thank you so much everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye.